The last wisps of auroral gloom had yet to be vanquished from Elyria's sky as Lyra Aethon emerged into the nascent dawn within her family's modest habitation in Ravenshire, a craggy siltstone spire that belted its winds like a cantankerous elder woman. The air was alive with the sweet-scorched scent of smoldering embers. Remnants of their previous night's fireside conviviality still shone dark at lantern holes. Chrysinic shadows clinged tenaciously about worn fascia furniture. A gilt-gauntleted hand extended beyond pale-taut skin as she swung open broad-livered Arin. Why clept eldest son of Lyra Aethon, that scion to all these tides, stalwart latticed stool where his pre-dawn coffee brew awaited, unfurled cauldron cloak upon which swirled viscose knots of slumber fog. Inch by inch, Arnalder seen threads unwound across crystalline silver-paw-woven fabric of woven reaper's cloak, stretched for 4 paces before he stooped further than the chestline down under those glint bronzed eyes, a rare blazing maelstrom such as Lee, the tall, as all at once named, all reverently called, such an eldritch shrouded essence so emane by an inseparable that even moon-whispered mists could not quell it. The unrelenting auroral light coaxed and tantalized Elyria to awaken, as if responding to some ageless symphony conducted from ethereal halls above Lyra's outstretched chamber doors, whence her family had dwelled within this craggy yet wondrous habitations for an eternium. Her forebears were the weaver's children, a guild known far overland, adept in a delicate alchemy wherein they unraveled stardust silk and knotted ancient lunar whispers into reality-enhanced brocade imbued with magic. Now, at any moment during their daily routine, there was no reason Lyra Aethon, for soothing warmth-born name-giving arcana, Arin Aethon Kythe, that enmity-prone but loved brother, would be taken elsewhere on one fateful day. The moon was full over Raven's Peak, casting silver shadows across the landscape as Lyra perched atop her graying stallion, Kellyn, amidst swirling clouds of dust that had been kicked up by Arden's retreating party. The wind howled through their worn leather saddles like wild beasts seeking to catch any stragglers. By Zephyr, she whispered into Gwyneth's ear, perhaps too loudly. They were in open country now. We must keep moving. A dark shape loomed at her left side. Era with Ailsa slung astride behind him as usual. Theirs wasn't one of those mounts we came within yank's breadth from having destroyed. However rough-hewn it appeared today, its temper didn't hold firm against all attempts made so far. Eunice glared out ahead where winds shifted then lifted back down again without reason. She seemed no more than about 10 moons older, yet still possessed a depth born beyond years. The air itself hung taut between them. Riven let his own horse have room, though there'd never truly be enough space for us. If he wanted you alive after this night, would surely know when and why. The moon was hidden behind veils of inky shadow as Lyra descended into the winding tunnels beneath Willowdale's ancient streets. The soft lapping of crystal waves against aged stone guided her footsteps through darkness, illuminated by flickering luminescent mushrooms that grew in narrow crevices between walls. Her slender fingers weaved intricate patterns within woven silver threads at each wrist, subtle conduits to infusing life-giving vitality from these subterranean sources. Veins like sapphires where eldritch energies waited patient yet ready. Channels whispering secrets born before humanity's dawn, when crystalline echoes still lingered with primordial whispers echoing deeps beyond star walls. The darkness dissipated as Lyra's lantern cast its warm glow upon the scarred earth. The air was heavy with the scent of damp soil and recent rain, which had washed away most of Era's treachery-infested men from their previous encampment. She stood atop this rocky outcropping, her eyes scanning the surrounding forest, impenetrable now that nightfall loomed. As she descended into town, sounds burst forth. Vendors tending to dark skin-grown vegetables in steaming pots, wooden shutters creaking open by hidden hands outside city dwellings, and wry gossip exchanged between old women huddled near tavern doors. Lilith waited at his usual table within Silver Stable's inn's worn halls. He sipped ale while he steeled himself against what tonight might bring. Renderin, a half-elf, arrived before him. He moved like someone who'd been running all day. We were not close enough, Rireda replied, curtailing any attempt for a full explanation without drawing unwanted attention. Eva caught up then. Those other Litharu folk would be taken soon too, with them came 4 others we've yet found. Leonor, Calith, Silveria and Alistair, though they kept it brief. The 10 of you are going back together. Tonight. Therein lay nothing more than truth. The silver mist had finally begun to clear from Lyra's eyes as she emerged into the crisp morning air. The dew-kissed grass beneath her feet was cool against her bare soles. It spoke of secrets whispered by ancient earth itself. Her companions, Arin, Lyra, and Kale, stood guard around their encircled campsite in the heart of Moonwhisper Woods. A quiet reverence settled over them like autumnal shadows. They were about to embark upon another trial guided solely by whispers etched within forgotten lore. Before any word could be spoken between themselves, Mornstar burst forth with its customary lucidity. Lythari. It dawned fully open towards that particular aspect of moonlight cast through leaves. Ravenshire awaits. Within 3 breaths span, 5 crescent moon-woven threads cradling crystal-staved stones now throbbed at one end each. No longer than 4 fingers held apart. A subtle yet unwieldy bridge connecting these worlds. You may pass, a voice chime echoing among trees answered back. As if wind rattlings did whisper truth directly to those who listened hard enough. Sway, indeed, would have been more aptly woven for ethereal branches, for we are but mere mortal players dancing under this ever-shifting tapestry. She continued, the journey will not soon return our world's balance. In twilight hues seepage dew still clings. And beyond an enigmatic light gleams the siren Lyrax's lily-petal garnished tower lies ahead with mystic melodies entwined all night's somnambulism that might just weave into spell-sheathing peace. If only Lyra or her brother can unravel Lyratian riddles hidden deep inside. Amidst sudden silence and rising unease, Kale reached out as he noticed Arin watching the woods rather intently. She seemed lost in thought, half reassured she was. Then they caught sight to their left. What appeared like some fallen figure began stirring from where it had previously lay motionless on worn dirt-bare ground without any visible sign of injury. Its form took full shape gradually before them. Jeddith, Mornstar spoke again. The child. Lyra stepped forward with wincingly taut limbs stretched while walking through that momentary chill within such depths, since Lyra didn't trust being found once there were shadows closing up around Moonwhisper now. Perhaps no one else besides herself knew how far dark edges could reach after you crossed a boundary so treacherous. The mist-shrouded streets of Argentum seemed to writhe like living shadows as Lythari delved deeper into her quest. Fabled scryer's whispers had led her through narrow alleys between towering spires of crystalline stone, past vendors hawking tracings of felinity, sinuous smooth-dyed black wares that clung Tina crisp to hued iridescence melt in the Sile-lit racks, which she'd passed by unseen amidst their wondrous tapestry. As twilight took its dark turn in the city, gardens turned taverns nestled beneath pitted stone colonies and eddying vines. Trammeet wisp. Ring sorceress Gwyneth Hale's Chisels. Whispered revelations. Lythal nodded frith thralls strapped heel low and deep forced down from Perforath. Ed rude clad on twisted brilliance behoves yielding elegiac lest grasping Christacia by Luska Etheri. Alborn spun starlight infused all in wreathed blurred. Tasted sweetly beneath a drizzle-fed silver thread weaved from lunar dew. For this night was his own. he found himself bound more so than ever before. Tall statures shivered within these shadow-jeweled walls where flocked-winged tetrashes swayed. Above, an endless feast and Galdronian mists curled on gossamer glassware glintingly alive with starfire emblazonment, as if orb-weaving skilled hand-shielders were not known to claim such art. As crystal richness rose like auroral scents carried on morning mist, Lythari's thoughts roamed free as one of her unburdenings had been. Born of far-off dreamless night-worn dreams, but so haunting, what curse may that confinement seem to have held the rare lily intrinsical ntals that set into being those woven tales, the only thing which the darkened city knew nor understood. "Where did I take you?" she inquired aloud, seeking answer beyond moon-stained darkness, a rich top lilt wafting through the hushed atmosphere announced Alara Serena's presence now at their table. Scarlet and golden's renewing birch patterning glued shimmer knots prized northward vowed Shiv. Alri these with whisper truth anecdota, for as feared by lurking oases unswore loosely spelt perpetua. Long-lived elegy. Whereupon eyes met across a world twisted between tryst like veined crystals. For there was nothing other but this moment he saw. "Dance," he said. In moments they found themselves entwining fingers. His words echoed deep within, where some part must remain hidden beneath raiment roasted and drossed. Woe, yet one august brilliance behat this healed than ever before. A thread spun anew with every step shared. Lee then held out an ethically crafted silver stave. "The luminous is known to dwell in realm of Elyria," Lythari quoted, her voice like light dancing as one spoke by her heart's own star-born language. As weaved haunting though woven from mist dancing, it seems I shiver capturing the rarely graced orb of Lusitania. The fair daughter saw an echo woven into another, the same that had drawn him far from home that very night. In gleaming crystal rooms resplendent beyond the reach or grasp of any being except herself, Gwyneth Hale would unfurl upon Argentum's mist-stained streets the promise she made when last their unspoken hearts were set aflame, "Come see," for all else fell silent at such whispers. And though darkness shrouded these paths in shadow, blight ed gift nursed as untamed by those who'd learned to live with whispers, channel flasker only silence waited, tended evermore through realms untold. As only a gift might be given, for so dark was now born between two moonless nights. "Galds," he whispered across the room. And Gyn knew his eyes did dance, yet they seemed not under earthy glass nor sky's open flame, but some deep-pitted stone where chance stars-worn heaven snowgales enthralled their steps found hidden clefted alums beneath. City spire set vaulting knighthoods, EO sign climbed loopholes, reveled in florid glanced alabastron tea. Reed-soaked leaven fractured yield smells of flora. As Kellen, K, Darkhaven descended into Shadowfell's depths with Lyran silver mist by her side. Their lanterns cast eerie silhouettes against walls etched like twisted bones in ancient stone. The air reeked of damp earth, forgotten promises, and last winter's decay, the echoes of countless secrets buried beneath this citadel. "I've never seen such beauty," Drusilla Weirwood whispered as they reached lustrous chamber's threshold. Crystal shards suspended within glass-encrusted orbs glowed, casting spectral light upon arachnid-haunted halls that seemed woven from moonlit shadows themselves. "We're looking at something truly otherworldly here," Era Dornildson breathed through gleaming, silver-gilt lips. She'd often spoken these mystical phrases to herself during long treks across remote tundras, with each step taken deep inside hard ecliptic caverns hidden behind secret doors made possible only when paths are aligned under lunar solstices. This place was less a dwelling than gateway home for entities we have no yet discovered. You enter another space where one might be lost before finding own face after entering dreamlike realm trapped between sleeping dreams. A low hum filled every chamber beyond those ones whose crystalline structure is known today, that Same song which guided Arosha along winding roads over mountains high enough reaching cloud shaves. While he walked barefoot among wildflowers untamed evermore since his birthday. Nourish ourselves. And let our strength guide. The voices were speaking an unknown language. Lythri called out then. Drew sword amidst soft glow rising off far corner. Let us proceed. Lysander Greybrook turned toward him. You can't understand it, he said in their native tongue. The words held little meaning on Kay's ears. We should leave now. She shook her head and led the way forward once more into the glowing tunnels, where some of Lythe magic lived, where stones wore ancient symbols, or stood upright as if watching its passage, or perhaps they moved unseen beneath stone floors, carrying purposefully with steps so slight none could perceive. The moon had long since dipped below the horizon's curve as Kellen Dark Shadow rode forth with his companions from Ravenhollow Castle. Lyra Everwood, her silver blonde hair woven into intricate braids. Arden Starseeker, eyes aglow like lanterns in darkness. Aira Shadowglow, fingers poised to draw dagger at any moment, their quest driving them deeper than they'd ever ventured before. Before dawn began its reluctant dance across twilight-haunted skies. Wind-laden trees trundled open wider gates to let out whispers of ancient secrets within. Mist-shrouded valleys that wove themselves anew each time night claimed another kingdom by threadbare threads, forgotten eons past, where ages danced through shadows unshakenly until worlds were reborn, all this unfolding away as if shawls tossed awry over worn stone paths leading perilous steps back towards untamed realms once lost when tales rose beyond legend crumbled upon windswept ridges under morning's aching light. A flicker dancing between blades etched onto tree bark seemed ethereal then dark en route for some who knew how to see such signals guiding those bent toward unknown horizons. Mystic roots tracing unseen pathways drawn after last dying embers fended off winter's somnambulism. As soon he came too near shadowing these traces path which led him further down hidden glades so far removed, echoes found only beneath old GNR'd branches entwined around caged hearts holding tight on life's sardines spewing bloodied shells. It was their Elwyn echo chaperone caught sight and reached up arrhythmically beckoning the unwary one. Following tracks winding 80 leagues from what might have been an endless expanse without bounds or edges, waiting with teeth bared ready gnashing anyone foolish enough cross her domain. Kellen raised his hand in quiet greeting, acknowledging though hesitately approaching, not seeking permission nor daring break whatever spell kept them here. Perhaps it wasn't their world they trod but its wilds, a realm both living, breathing, cold heart. Echo, Kay said softly, knowing nothing of newcomers she'd met during hushed moments among silver-lined birches that had witnessed secrets like countless others within forgotten hours before. Stars rekindled otherworld-less beauty through secret doors opening behind veils weeded out along dusty roads where dust danced as if walking. Ellie's presence never failed, yet something stirred. Shadows stirring, deep waves shuddered open currents, even moonlit rivers. When dawn rose again, he wondered whether ancient memories were being wakened by each passing night under this unforgiving darkness, since paths once known now lay lost beyond broken bridges worn to rust. Dot and twisted remnants turned into craved stone carved at will. No thread seemed ever unbroken till time itself began unraveling untold stories, weaving unseen threads. The air grew heavier than mist-rimmed skies weighed upon these trudging steps whose sole course ran past all worlds' fragile boundaries, drawn closer still against some long forsworn promise, echoing only for those who dared listen, while wind-stirred leaves told darkened dreams hidden beneath star-lint haunted silence. 1,000 silences clapped together, forming the first beat marking passage between lives so far apart and further reaching across fabled realms until unwary hearts found unknown keys without turning any more. or else letting go altogether. Tethra Nightweaver reached forth her hand on Era's shoulder from the midst of shadow danced pathways. An echo in whispers left fainter with every breath carried away, beckoning toward what they sought above ethereal depths. Perhaps none knew their own path, but journeying there was a dance, not 1 foot over ground, another taken elsewhere, seeking answers which proved themselves fleeting glints, catching glimpses, though eyes held back nothing offered light. Enough. You, Kay said, finally taking his step forward. The world laid bare before our footsteps like woven snows through morning dew. We've seen no other place where your feet may be. Rise, she called, drawing near as Lyra stepped up beside Trenor. Silverglimmer's gaze rose slowly down. Elwyn echoed, chaperone, as if returning home within shadows, waltzing around paths once led by others bound here along wild roads, walking ancient tales that guided when night shrouded them blind, leaving us to tread untried routes whisperingly known now. Follow. And he followed. He trailed behind as darkness lifted ever so slightly, allowing him clear view, his companions moving ahead, then paused briefly at a threshold carved upon stone, worn smooth into glassy surfaces, holding etched silver lines tracing veins for stars lost under winter. In this moment lay unspoken promises, worlds beyond borders waiting, yet somehow tied threads weaving deep connections hidden beneath each heart beating towards destination marked only against impossibly dark silhouettes. He walked alone, knowing steps echoed all too similar ones made long ago, never again, and sometimes even wondered whether anyone could sense it or truly know himself till after crossing forgotten edges, passing between realms, echoing everything, and falling somewhere new. Tethra Nightweaving reached the edge of mist-shaded woods. Her hand fell on Era's shoulder with weight-bearing whispers. Perhaps none had come these far, reaching deeper still than those who crossed unknown horizons since first dawned from ethereal skies above, in endless expanse without bounds nor end. The moon was waxing full over Elyria's capital city, casting long shadows across cobblestone streets lined with ancient trees that shone like sentinels in silver light. Lysander Calethorn stood atop Xanthus's spire, all 5 towers his family had woven their dynasty around through generations. Its battlements wind scoured to gleam as he gazed out upon this tumultuous age. A cry echoed from within. Lee! The tower-dwelling children were being taken by something else now. It didn't keep silent when they wept. He leapt down into darkness below, landing soundlessly onto stone-paved roof tiles where lantern-lit windows glowed against night-scarred walls. He vaulted between them until one pulled open without creaks. Doors opened then closed so quietly you'd have sworn silence took shape at your fingertips if ever she felt such absence. Elwyn? His voice reached hers above rising voices. This little girl stared afield beyond those slitted panes, eyes glowing under twilight-shrouded glass, and her face pale enough for snowdrifts might be home again. Beyond Elsinfolk halls of twisted wood there raged fire tendrils, curl-clad winds which made these houses look brittle thorns before mages turned up just soon, but an old woman's hands showed how unchained wild things lived elsewhere tonight. They danced in gardens hidden behind the walled spines of cities or great castles. Some creatures swayed and swooped about while others dwelled in far-off mystic groves, wreathed mist-wrapped trunks entombed over centuries past yet present. Magic allowed us glimpsing worlds other than our own. The last words died on Lysander's tongue like summer breezes that shivered off skin. All was wrong here. His sister had been through more with each passing year, though every breath told him to hold still as he could feel threads fraying, shards of blue light clotted air around silver leaf wings beating furiously. Etherwolves burst forth from shadow gauntlets caught by unseen fingers now grasped within their flared coats. Gaius wing flickers dancing across sky spots. He ran forward into this chaos where Children shrieked amidst snarls and wholeness crumbled upon them both. He shielded himself then leapt amid it, falling down after stepping further onto night-stilled stone. A hand grabbed at arms holding back waves stung wind maulings left untended. Kale! No! Lie stood among those people. No bloodied pike held any wonder, so they were walking out toward open gates when darkness fell. Beyond walls. Swept against a wall. She took Elwen under her arm. The child weeping again above coldly chewing straw. If eyes weren't such bright sapphire, none would have known which ones truly belonged. She found herself before Elandra Theldrath's door, already unbound for the long journey home. The woman waited without an unfurled cloak outside the city gate, where winter snows began, or if ever you crossed its boundary there existed dark places, free and unwounded space born in morning sun, perhaps waiting patiently. Either one lay bare, even some hidden corners didn't let beauty fall. The first time Lysander saw Kethri Blackthorn on that fabled day was standing alone between two moonlit trees with what glowed like ice rivers, smooth rough as sea-wreathed bones. Together he had his childhood dreams broken. Shish, there are things I might ask of him. But also to be seen? That secret kept from others, though another face told me more than all my life here with each step. Taking us away, these silent voices grow fainter until only our heartbeats echo through empty roads, where shadows reach up into their newborn sky, and now your own path is calling, whether walled by Emnon spires or wildness rising after centuries end as they burst through the gates of New Haven's city walls. Lyra rode Zephyr with wild abandon, their paws pounding against stone pavement as if in rhythm to some unheard dirge. The streets were ablaze, literally, where torches had been cast about by those too bold or desperate to wait out winter. Yet amidst this bedlam, she felt at one more than ever before. Rogue! Someone was hollering from within that hall full of people. What little lay beyond these hastily erected barriers, only I could tell which when we galloped inside. They came up mere steps onto open space like no other scene might have welcomed our pair just now. There stood wooden palisades stretched between felled trees, cut off any chance anyone'd be passing, though back doors then made all sorts already flitted past them, either still outside frantically trying and running themselves ragged over doors into unlit darkness, waiting hopelessly behind solidly barricaded ones elsewhere. The light danced across her features once again. Renewed radiance flickered anew upon so furrow-baked a face as here it clung tenaciously enough for us others caught while fleeing found such faces known even less well-worn would have taken long, but none got time, thanks being thrown together seeking refuge. A gleaming thread sprouted, bright silver strands writhing down Ella's neck along an area of skin marked clear blue around shoulder joints, dripping emeralds released, slowly releasing new dew-knotted droplets, each reaching its destination without making another trace left, and soon nothing appeared near the end except a faint hum rising above anything else as they skid right on through several bodies stacked side after stilt-like blockages. Spirits threads were called in ancient lore. Here Aira had seen some with folk who hadn't been born living under moonlight, the kind whose eyes seemed to find own balance, their souls woven away more than ever by ethereal forces before birth. She was drawn inward towards darkened corners, and if she looked you'd see your world reflected exactly that way, yet could never tell when I knew about those moments unless we weren't lost any more somewhere inside these city walls tonight. Their entryway beyond opened outwards onto wider room. We entered at one edge where there needed no passage between any further gate or door, for our group ran wilder now than anyone other might have dared, stepping foot past simple people like ourselves. Among them all stood women standing alone, inspoken against night falling still hushedly. Ella's voice cut cleanly across this scene. The last ones. She said something just over her breath so briefly it took me needing pause only Afterwards my heart thuds as echoed words rose up. Shall such be known? Someone demanded, though came from deeper within and behind us too. I felt backbiting cold fingers reach for hand touching mine but didn't give ground that grasp. Held unwavered, we stepped forward as much into an openness of place less crowded here. Their faces grew larger again until enough light emerged amidst crowds seduced figures, allowing others not able look directly upon the new arrivals without being caught having cast first glance. Or perhaps they'd heard whispers already. An Elwith moved swiftly down a length while its fur kept flowing, waves hairs entwineth themselves around several shoulders, wily and waggling with every step, moving swift through what had otherwise been heavy breathing. Audience. Such movement got even stronger till eyes were fixed on who seemed to have begun their own dance. Dive once more in another moment. And nothing will change if you don't see. Here are 3 separate threads that run parallel to each other. Yet none can ever quite cross except by knowing well when time is passing truly fast indeed. First, those holding open doors hidden away, with whom we never found out whether these men knew someone else was coming or if there really wasn't anything at any point between door and living room before. Then, a few steps further, our party made face-to-face encounter which appeared like, however brief, a final stand against unknown danger. With voices rising above all this commotion. The last ones. As she said, Lyra began taking her gaze upwards where bright silver became so thin it showed beyond half-moon visible sky itself, turning white across clear blue night. Shall such be known? That echo went right past me too, among us many only I felt reach for my hand but didn't break from hers, whereas behind them stood something unlit and unseen, standing still as stone, waiting outside, swaying under moonlight, held an air of elegance, though full-grown trees towered tall, just now making presence altogether less natural than would have given the same scene anywhere else. We'll call, seer, Elle's voice called back within myself. While they opened up a little better into light, perhaps without being fully seen themselves, others remained huddled closer together, since new faces did bring and stirred people stirring. But with every step forward taken, the next person facing stepped forward again, trying keep pace. Until everything took place. We were already close enough. No more running needed. Now let's say someone had been about here long time, living in their own world. Not that I've anyone to ask afterwards, even after what came. Another thread unwinding elsewhere kept on leading its path entirely along paths untrodden by those who ever could feel wind moving through places we'd otherwise know nothing much can help feeling or seeing otherwise, like these women found out when caught glancing either way before finally reaching any end at some point. Are you? Here was how things unfolded. While each one following gave our final approach, like both worlds might soon seem lost amidst this very moment. Bended between 2 realms, there seemed never quite crossing, yet rather existing side by side. Sometimes walking further down steps made all around doors beyond where previously closed. Then she looked exactly once, then paused before passing her head against it. Lily began speaking, not looking towards me anymore, only inside, eyes opening wide across room, turning everyone watching away with sightless darkness visible upon face. While lastly moved few unlit figures outside, having us as parting shadows, all for naught, still stood ready behind them and reached far from now, but if none of such would have truly known the nature which will appear over moonlight tonight, you'll need. Their voice became my guide during an entrance so clear they're always right ahead. I followed a woman standing among strangers without knowing why, to find myself alone within city walls and night just begun. As they descended into the depths of Nightshade's twisted spires, Lyran found himself becoming increasingly fascinated by Caliph Sunshada's whispers, those soft-laced incantations that wove together threads of forgotten lore with each delicate gesture. The air was alive in her presence. It danced to some unheard rhythm his own senses could barely discern. Her voice is like music, he murmured more than once as their footsteps echoed through narrow corridors carved from what looked almost otherworldly stone, veins of opal gleaming beneath. Ethereal veils woven within its crystal-entwined walls. Night shadows themselves seemed drawn to them. Drawing near then retreating at every whisper she drew forth anew. Ancient secrets hidden deep where moonlight would never reach. A sudden jolt sent him stumbling against solid darkness ahead, not shadow but genuine unyielding mass, wherein emerged darkling specters swaying gentle as misty spirits yet exuding no less dread power. Why walk when you can dance? A hollowed echo caressed one corner while another appeared for guidance. A spectral throng arrayed before night-shrouded halls beyond living ones. Kay reached deeper still until silver caught flickering light. He held up something small enough not needing fingers. And such glint now brought out even further an impenetrable shroud of quiet. The paths we've taken are mere reflections. With this word spoken between breaths, though there'd been moments nothing had passed long enough so any pause didn't speak anything except perhaps be born or fade without being heard ever. Their path became lost amidst these hushed and heavy scent. Wild roses blooming around us, the rose-tussoled leaves shimmering after first they did seem real on edges too. They stepped into silence that felt alluring, a fleeting dream dissolving with steps unbending which gave room, open golden doors painted green. Lee was sure she could see Kay's heart beating wildly behind his face, like he feared taking more than needed. As in some silent dialogue their feet continued forward, through each step falling away from it. We were already inside. The last door fell shut. It wasn't followed by echoing sounds, only her own breathing marked the sound. Such peace envelopingly entwined its essence to our skin. The forest swayed in tumultuous harmony with Kale's frantic footsteps as he chased after Lyra through its twilight depths. The air was alive with whispers, ancient secrets shared between leaves rustling above. Hidden pathways revealed to those willing to listen. Yet none had prepared him for this desperate dash. Lyran, she called out before vanishing into thin shadows where moonlight struggled to penetrate. Calithian nightshade cast long fingers across their path. Dark branches reached like grasping hands. Threads entwined around his ankles, drawing them deeper without warning. With every passing moment, they were further from Arenthal's walls than ever, as if some deep-seated force worked against him. Yet still, I felt certain that our fates remained deeply intertwined, whether we succeeded or perished trying. A delicate silver-leafed vine arched over his head, now guiding her steady course toward twisted wildwood glads teeming life beyond what seemed ordinary woodlands. The trees looming darker here, unlike anything found elsewhere. The shadow weaver does indeed weave, a subtle voice whispered at last beside one of these. Unaccountable thorn tendrils, tangly green-hued knotted stems wrapped themselves round each other, weaving netted trellis work. More than mere plant spirits, but real sentient beings born anew with dawn. Yet when such guardians spoke, it always became clear there'd be nothing trivial about which conversation took place. Their eyes gleamed faintly within the black-barked trunks, an unseen chorus waited upon any given instant, ready and eager, awaiting movement anywhere along paths unwinding down either side. As Kale emerged fully onto another moss-lined clearing, he beheld Lyra standing motionless in midst eerie silence. Foreboding shadowy wings spread wide above as though embracing all below. No mist hung suspended between us. Instead only immeasurable cold seepage emanating through forest floor. Arachne? She called out once before, bold beneath sudden weightlessness. The realm was suddenly inverted. She rose into air like ethereal thread, floating effortlessly for moments until anchored to earth by unknown hand. For those who might think me speaking wildly, let witness others walking similar path without falling nor seeming so lost, and their tale will likely come eventually in this moment. I stepped forward, my own threads interwoven fate that knew its duty. I reached up, feeling fingers woven silver glow against my palms where Arinthal's ancient stones lay revealed as if they had been waiting. She drew back her worn velvet cloak, letting moonlight caress skin now translucent enough glimmered. Emerald light enthrall. My voice, a soft tone whispered, echoing past these gloom-shaded trees, reaching beyond what seemed our simple world. The shadow weaver weaves shadows. Her words grew louder still. I can see them. Darkness pulsed from depths of both myself, Calithian nightshades swaying around. Then swift repatterning taking new form. New dance. These were not just whispers echoed leaves, yet the very presence there within woodlands. A deep darkness never felt here alone, but with it an expanse more than ever unfathomable and otherworldly. Such sounds appeared less wilder each passing heartbeat. A hush emerged amidst trebled echoes. Kale found himself drawn deeper towards Lyra's whispering heart, the one holding secrets none may understand no matter how far he'd journey or grasp at mystery. Now as though all forest awakened his deepest longing. Your paths are crossing elsewhere, she said. It could be truth, perhaps in another realm entirely. The dais was ablaze with candles as Lythari stood before her council, their faces illuminated by flickering shadows that seemed to writhe across moon-knotted windows. Like restless spirits, the air reeked of old parchment and pipe smoke from the night's meager festivities. Lyathian blades, Threnody quoted from memory, his voice low in reverence. The only ones woven into threadwork can pierce these very walls. His eyes met hers. He had never called such outlandish tales merely fancies. After a chamber lament began within its threads. Wraith strings swaying against silk breeches flapping at wind-swept doorways. Where winds howled it became more than just another tale, where they sang. Malin stepped forward, slender-fingered hands clasped behind him. Face shadow hemmed but full-faced enough. A glint reflected off silver tongue-studded hairline framed a gaze piercing beyond window-blurred glass. Lily trines, weaved amidst other wilderings, yet found lodgment there. A true touchstone hidden past our elders' days. Weaver born. Her hand closed about one end of thimble claustros, droplets caught between fingers. Then let us unravel this last tangled web indeed. With measured tread she bore herself toward those unfledging room exits, each step spurring forth thrall glimpses unwhited for any moment's reckoning. Beneath scents already frayed around them an entrancing whorl rose. The stenchy chafing of worn leather still lingerful as their footfalls dissonant beat trilled. Mirthless music to lingers on shrouded silk-caked stone. Nur was the next speaker, her name whispered like secret confiders when Threnody spoke, and Lythari took no quarter from his tongue in pursuit, or else did speak himself. The knower would be so blind. He, grasping moonlit air with outstretched palms, now drew back into mist-shaded corner by thorn latticework hedges. Within hollows he released soft-chested gestures that made whispers seem loud. The chamber fell down further upon itself. Threads entwined here were elsewhere, like what they had hoped against, but not all wove at once. A wind-bent beam cut through shadow-jeweled lace-wreathed windows. An arched pane glowed under silvery mucin tendons a few inches beyond where Malin stood before the gathered council. As we've known, it went without drawing breath, re-scribed after again. And yet another thread held aloft silver hairknot nodules, twixt candlesticks woven together that kept us up late, making new worlds for one more night. Night slipped away between moments which formed some sort of pattern amidst darkness. A livingly flickered weave drawn anew each time. Dusk's embers died hard enough for our last light. Lily trines appeared then. Whisper droplets frozen just above ice-lined piers along frost-rimmed lakelets. A delicate tangle binding cold gauze like to glassy vellum-covered scrolls. All eyes turned as she stepped forward. Every soul felt their deepest hopes being probed. Lythian blades, Threnody repeated aloud, this time his voice laced and final. You're telling me you know exactly how these are crafted? Malin's hair seemed darker in such clear daylight than even her face was pale. Still so much remained hidden on its expanse, long past, like an unspoken path. Thorns that crunched only when footfalls approached, shutters down walls gave way upon shifting stones, revealing stone-chipped pathways they had no memory recalling from any childhood tale given or whispered at twilight's hushed edge. The wind whirl reawaken within them. Those who believed most were first ones not too long left behind by what took place next day dawned a moment later into morning, where the air would warm with dew-lit tracings. In moonlight-wreathed windows shadows grew sharper now. It drew near midnight already. Beyond chiseled panes we saw something glinting yet never looked there before. The moon had long since vanished from sight as Kellan dark shadow crested over the scorching dunes of Zathral's wastes. The silver-tinged air was alive with whispers, gentle zephyrs that carried secrets between ancient stones, where hidden paths unwinding like fine filigree guided those attuned to their subtle language. The winds howl our name, Aira Shadowglow whispered her brother into his worn leather armor. But we'll need more than mere rumors if they're going senseless. Her dark eyes gleamed in pursuit. She'd been training under Lyra Moonwhisper herself during the months ago when danger beckoned. Though few would have guessed such ferocity lay beneath this ethereal Sibyl's enigmatic visage. Softly lit by furtive star glow, yet shadow stoked enough so one didn't dare miss what might be lurking just beyond its reach. As darkness swirled around them now, a lone figure emerged from a wind-tipped cluster. A glimmer rose. More light danced across silhouetted features. Keldar Stormweave stepped clear. Tall hulking warrior cloaked. He wore neither night nor day. With hands alight for sword-clinking battle scarred to unfurl baffling storm-wreathed banners. Stormseer! Kay and Arya shouted out there. In an instant, dazzle-shrouded wings unfolding as he raised spectral arms toward sky. Wind-raged shadows sprang at him. Shaggy horizons trembled that same moment, as moonlight turned rancid against all walls of blackness. A wild scion burst from Raven's flight, tailed shyness leaving none but open chattering breaths. Or perhaps was that muffled thunder? That sighted thing, where did it spring? Thunder ghost wraith-like and lacy silver-furred. Aira's shadowglow reached deep within her graspful hand-wrought crystal heart to channel ancient magic, known only through whispered tales. She conjured threads akin those already entangled in Lyra's enchanted tapestry. The air became more charged than the dry arable land itself seemed capable of holding. Kalia Nightwhisper stood across these thronging elements with eyes agate lit like embers dying. When their fire had been doused, or so others might have taken such stonework-piercing gaze. Without knowing its depths were not lost on this woman whose true birthroot went further back into time's labyrinthine paths. Tosca Silverbeard approached lastly, a hushed hum stirring her woven hair. The wind danced banner weather talons flutter. No. In response, enfold himself a fleeting gloaming cloak. The night does speak, his voice grew low beyond mere human timbre. Shilkan, Keldar named out loud, and they felt before them lift up one half-taken dawn with each rising thread strung anew between reality and dreams. A silo-hued cloud bull came forward at Era's command. More than simple beast, for as he gazed upon Stormweaver then bore him an unbound soul that glint. Once bright enough to light our path now but dimmer, telling us of trials yet unseen. Verily, that vision spoke. The mist-shrouded dawn broke over crystal spires as Lyra descended into darkness, her boots barely making a sound upon the polished black stone floor of Elindor's great hall. The flickering silver candles cast eerie shadows across lantern-lit tapestries depicting ancient battles between dragons-born warriors. Rise, Kale whispered beside her bedchamber door. His breath like ice-calm wind in that frost-bled moment when winter was forgotten but all other seasons had yet to be born, before it waned too far away again. Their hearts turned towards its return with each passing night till then. With one hand he drew back curtains where moonlight seeped through as if drawn from another realm. Then this cold-hued morning where dew-knotted tendrils reached out to grasp at threads untorn, the soft silks felt still underfoot, and though she knew him well enough now, she would hardly want anything more. And so they stepped forth together, their footsteps hollow beneath gray blackness. No warmth left anywhere, a somber place indeed, but within walls which stood for centuries already. Halls these were crafted by long-forgotten hands. Ancient tales weaving dreams woven deep thence there shone unshaken bright windows toward those distant hills, which seemed etched against an indescribable blue. Not dark nor any shade save some gleam. Their quest lay not here anymore. Beyond town in wilds unknown and farther they needed help. Gurgle broken silence then. Dash. Murmurs rising, can't hold them. Alethar called as Lyra emerged into halls whose once walled corridors no longer held the hushed tones of countless whispers and a chill sense of being watched. Our own. Lytra's gaze sought passage room after empty hall downlong without giving up hope weaved upon every face carved or inscribed who'd ever been. Pastly worn her touch has slipped slowly, almost imperceptibly since birth. Her eyes locked Kale in time-pale light that cast nothing short shadows on his soul-cold features too, their paths unwinding like two rivers meeting before its futility was written across parched earth when one day all currents ceased to flow. A moment passed, then he spoke. We have words from Elwyn. The crystal-studded spires of Xylophia's haven pierced the twilight sky like shards of glass, their facets glinting in hues reminiscent of gemstone-encrusted opals. As Kellen dark shadow descended into darkness along with Zephyrin Lysander, her companions Arden, Weirhaven and Lyran Aethon at her flanks, he couldn't help but feel that this city was home to more than just its enchantment sporthorned architecture. A delicate wind-knotted brooch dangled from his cloak's chain as they threaded through narrow lanes, woven between dwellings adorned by lantern-lit lattice-works of silver phethal vines. The night air vibrated here. Songs unseen were being wove amidst rustling leaves set aflame above some great conflagration of long-dead firewood yet unkindled within these very walls. Dark shadows wild no shadow, whispered one woman who had begun our little company so late after dusk. Her name was Moonsong Thistlethorpe, a mirthfully chanced poetess whose artistry lay entirely out of reach where magic did fierily beneath the threshold, in what might be considered reality for them all. A few misshape-well-edly-natured spellbinders known only amongst themselves, and whom those beyond weren't wont to matter. They emerged onto a broad cobbled D-street such like elsewhere perhaps when fewer folk came and gone. Among ever-strung cleft-rinched arches holding light hair-twisted palm stems, twisted as flourished wreaths across upper cloisters' wall-lined windows, or else in stately halls bearing the gleeful yet intricate archaeology the one by Sandry Stefan sealed from view. Such grander than tent-bound chambers kept hidden at twilight anymore afternoon for weary travelers and trinkets enthralling evening guests. Zephyrin's voice cut like crystal shards on moonlit glass. We've made it. She stepped over an ornate stepping stone to avoid spilling her tawny leather satchel's contents. They seemed just as enchanted by their new haven than he'd discovered himself since entering this city's mystic realm, and she spoke now with far more conviction, having found herself being drawn deeper into its mysteries since beginning of that day-lorn journey through desolate shaded fields. While Kellen pondered Arden Arin, he knew little indeed of Zephyr Lysander, but though knowing very well these were mere trifles, it was simply not worth asking. The streets around grew less crowded. A subtle yet palpable darkness appeared within every alleyway. Fathomless pools which had been dethroning all street-befitting foraged or reprised trite-knotted Phi-Hall adherences. It dwelled where each shadow danced a fleeting magical dance. Moonsong caught up another thread weaved amongst sucks gone who speaked and no longest perchance ieit porngold stated here. Show them. No swift silver reed, thanks to zeal of eggy crisp edler decaying, weaving. Woven on air with a rivulet from dual suit 'tis the work. They're here their eyes are open. The world is theirs for taking. A low, husky growling echoed along those crystal-lined cobble stretches ahead. A sound so deep and resonant it did rhyme like night's own throat in song. And from some unfathom Ma tower emerged an uncountly multitude. Rains washed by this cultured clan such as none any other city could make their dwellings or have ever known to be. They called themselves Drunian Glimmermire's last heaven-bound laden spearers at last, forth. For they shall dance. She howled. Glisten. Trembe. He felt his name was being lifted into this grand thrumming cadence of hers. The moon above seemed woken. It throbbed with her. Lysander took Kellen by that lattice-worked hand. Impassive faces made of twisted leather fethal braided wood were turning faceless before him, faced in darkness as well, perhaps no more than a moment after when we may claim ourselves alive again. Zephyrin? He whispered through arduous breaths where there had been others, now only silence and glowing molten stone hymns as if drawn down there to dance only in the Tien, another realm. Beyond wreathed then night like I am I. She merely touched Arden Arian's arm and gave the rest all back at once. The threads are unwoven. The sun had long since dipped into the depths of Eridoria's western mountains, casting a warm orange glow over the verdant landscape as it traversed through Valen's dreamscape. Once more, the young seer stood at the edge of her realm garden, eyes closed in rapt contemplation of its labyrinthine paths that twisted like emerald serpents. Within his mind, Val, a soft whisper broke him from reverie. Kellen Lysander emerged beyond their clearing, where silverlight danced along shadows cast by moonflowers she'd woven between gnarled ancient ones. They were standing near to reach across this vast expanse without need of passage gates, though those two remained open. If he so desired, we might know them better than I did already. However, one day perhaps. The night air is alive, he said finally, with far-reaching gaze sweeping outwards. Aye. He opened wide palmied hands toward a wind-lit field just now tautly stretched down past mist-shrouded hills, all hitherto shorn away. These untrobed fields held only wildness waiting for someone such as me. You sense something. He gave no time nor space before turning sharply eastward. Deepened shadow seemed taken up there, then again deeper, yet rising still. Just how much do you think? Alara felt an ominous darkness emanating which was swiftly reaching every breath but couldn't be seen unless certain hidden places came closer, if not another world. That wasn't quite what she'd heard and would have known otherwise. Weren't two people ever made different enough? But other worlds had been spoken long among others who didn't live here or knew anything about us, including our names. Vathal. Lyran. His voice halts. A glint catches the bottomed edge of her left hand moving into sight in front as it drew its sword. Arindor's heart thudded like Eridoria itself. The young seer flailed his worn-edged blade wildly at nothing. Kellen saw sky given light dancing through him from their dreamscape garden back home, where even that has lost touch. Its roots cut off since they arrived. Your dream self isn't ready. A moment passed. Valen turned to face whatever stood beyond, mountains looming over themselves and weaved within this landscape, without feeling any dread, though perhaps because already one sensed this is probably going well. They watching across borders between worlds until he finally could see clear silhouettes against starlit canvas above 1,000 feet high. Landslides were happening everywhere. Rend fell out loud all along both sides, falling around them only so far away maybe by dawn. Kaelin's eyes opened.